Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas, and for the last 20 years or so, Sony has been attempting to break into that handheld market, and it all started in the mid-2000s with the PSP. The PSP in general was actually a really good device. It was simple, but it was unique. Discs were the in thing at the time for video games to be printed on rather than cartridges, and Sony came up with this brilliant idea of having discs inside cases that you would put into your PSP, and it was really good. It actually worked. Roll forward a couple of years, 2012, and we get the Vita. Now, I love the Vita. As I always do in these videos, I kind of like using props, so here's my Vita. I think this is severely underrated, and it is so sad that it did not get the love and attention from Sony. Just imagine if Sony would have really, truly put the effort and the money into the Vita. It would have been fantastic. Those little cartridges that you put in there, well, ideally, Nintendo thought, oh yeah, we'll have that. And they did. They used that idea for the Switch, and that was successful. Anyway, as we roll forward, we ended up with something called the PlayStation Portal. And when it was first rumoured, it was very kind of, people thought, ooh, that's not real. Controller with a screen in the middle? Nah. And it turned out to be true. Since I got this, my fingers are all over the screen now. Since I got hold of this, my gaming experience has changed immensely. And I truly believe the Portal is one of the greatest gaming devices ever created. Now, I know people are going to turn around and say, well, you could just stream it to your phone. I guess. Get one of those backbone things that plug into your phone and use that. I guess. I could do that. But where's the fun? I think the Portal brings fun to the game. Mind the pun there. Because for me, as a husband, a father, I have a family, I'm in my 40s, but I still like to game. Well, telly's all hogged up. Kids are moaning, wife wants this, she wants to watch this on the telly, and where am I left? I don't want to sit in the office on my own, so what do? I get a Portal. Yep, that's right, Portal, and I can play my PS4 and PS5 games, not necessarily on the go, but I can sit downstairs with everyone else, put my headphones in, and off I go gaming while she's watching some crap on the telly, as wives tend to do. I know there were hiccups with the Portal to begin with, and it couldn't really be used as a standalone device to begin with either. You had to actually have a PlayStation 5 on your home network to be able to use the Portal, and in all fairness, I haven't tried to use that outside of my home, and I probably never will, so I can't give you that kind of experience. But one thing I will say is that if I was using my phone for remote play, like I had been at some point, it is nowhere near as good as that. I know that you can indeed have Bluetooth controller to your phone and play it that way, but I just don't feel that that's the connection there. I don't mind the pun again. I don't feel that that's how it should be done. For a lot of people, the Switch was a game changer, and in many ways you can see just how Sony has taken inspiration from Nintendo to create the PlayStation Portal, and they did it well. Another thing that I think people are missing out on with the Portal is the fact that you can stream games to it. Now, you don't necessarily have to have a PS5, and although I've not tried that myself, I know that that's a really good feature to have. And if I ever decide that one day I'll take my Portal on the go, I'm off somewhere, I don't know where, in a hotel, and I've got PS Plus, and I can just play a game. Awesome, I don't even need to connect to my PS5 back home, and that is a really good evolution of the PlayStation Portal. Now, when the Portal first came out, a lot of people just thought, well, what is the point? And I think even Sony didn't expect it to sell that well, because remote play was something that was coming up at the time. It was becoming bigger and bigger, and remote play technically existed on the Vita. So you look at this, and you can connect this to your PlayStation 4. And you can remote play most games from your PlayStation 4 on your Vita. And in fact, you can do it with some on the PS3, but it's mostly just PlayStation 1 games that you can do that with, and that's fine. But the point I want to get to with remote play is the idea of having a nice big screen, because no phone that I know of at least has a screen that is, hang on, let me get this without dropping it, that is that big. No phone I know has a screen that big. And I think that's actually bigger than the Switch screen as well. I can't be too sure whether it's as big as the Switch 2 screen because my pre-order got cancelled and I've not got round to actually getting hold of one. So no, I don't have a Switch 2. Poor Jimmy. But to be able to play these PlayStation games on an official hardware piece from Sony is brilliant. And I know that the thumbsticks are a little bit small. They feel a tiny bit smaller than the actual DualSense itself, but that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I still think it feels great. The battery life is not the best, but I've had worse devices with battery life. That is an amazing piece of kit. My advice to you is, if you are anything like me, husband, father, whatever, the Portal is gonna save your life. It is absolutely fantastic. Now, my gaming setup is in a couple of different places. So I have a gaming setup here in the office, and I have a gaming setup downstairs on the big TV whenever I want to play something down there. Now, I never get chance down there at all. I never get chance to play down there. It's mostly up here in the office, but I also have to do work up here, so I very rarely get a chance to play while I'm on my own, because obviously I have a daytime job and I also have to do editing, and I do my other channels on YouTube as well, so gaming is very limited. Whereas I could have been gaming all along if I had a Portal and I was downstairs. So for me, it's just a game changer. What I would like to see from Sony though is maybe a Portal 2, like a second version of it, where you can, I don't know, actually store games on there. So for example, if I've got a PS5, right, I can put my disc in there and it downloads. Right, cool, downloads the update, whatever, it's on the PS5. Now, I know you need to have a disc in there to play the games, but surely Sony can do something somewhere, somehow, to be able to transfer that data onto your Portal so you can play that while you're nowhere near anything. That would be absolutely amazing. So, here's my example. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, disc in, installed, right, and then transfer it to my Portal 2, turn the PlayStation 5 off, turn the Portal on, and I can play Rebirth. I can play my PlayStation 5 game on my Portal without my PS5 being on. That would be the ultimate goal, I think, because I know that Sony want to push the whole digital future. They all do, and it's sad, I know, and it's going to go that way. We've got to deal with it one way or the other. Accept it sooner rather than later, that's what I say. Oh, but it's hard for me. I love physical. If I can get that onto my Portal, brilliant. Awesome, epic. And if it goes to be a PS6, to be all digital, well, so be it. I can put my games on Portal 2 and play. That would be absolutely awesome. So that is why I think the PlayStation Portal is the greatest piece of handheld gaming ever. Take that, Nintendo. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Portal. If you have one, if you've been thinking about getting one, let me know your concerns. If you intend to get one, hopefully, one day. And if you don't mind, there will be some videos hanging around somewhere and a little subscribe button just below if you fancy clicking that to see more content just like this on my channel, because it'd be really, really appreciated if you come back and watch something new. Anyway, until my next video, guys, thank you very much for watching.